If you love Paul Harvey stories and the rest of the story, subscribe now. The rest of the story: Johnny was frightened, and with excellent reason. Confederates had already executed a young boy, even younger than Johnny, on suspicion of being a Yankee spy. One false move, one miscalculation, or even a single stroke of unavoidable bad luck, and Johnny could be next. Perhaps it might even be Johnny's young pal, Bill Wagoner. When Johnny and Bill stopped, they might fast-talk their way out of trouble, but should anyone rummage beneath the hay in their wagon, they would surely be robbed, maybe shot, maybe killed. How these two youngsters came to expose themselves to such danger is the rest of the story. Ever since he was 7, little Johnny Newton knew precisely what he wanted to do with his life. He wanted to distill and sell whiskey. At the time, he was earning a salary as a houseboy to a Lutheran minister in Lincoln County, Tennessee, who just happened to be a whiskey distiller on the side. Johnny pestered the preacher to teach him the distiller's trade, and eventually he did. Not everybody in the minister's congregation approved of his sideline. By 1860, it had created such a controversy that the preacher decided to abandon it. In fact, he offered to sell the distillery to his houseboy Johnny on credit. Johnny, then 13, who had been saving $5 out of his pay every month, jumped at the opportunity. Thus, armed with proper equipment and experience, the boy realized his childhood dream. He became the youngest sour mash maker and distributor in the business. At first, Johnny hoped to relocate his operation closer to Lynchburg, where rail delivery would vastly extend his market. But then came the uncivil war. Potential battlefields were everywhere. Johnny had to leave his distillery where it stood and deliver the goods personally. With the assistance of a 1-year older friend named Bill Wagoner, Johnny made weekly sales trips to Huntsville, Alabama. Still only 13, he loaded the 2-mule wagon with whiskey jugs, covered them with hay, and armed only with a pocket knife, set out across some of the most perilous territory in either state. By Union soldiers, the boys might have been shot as Confederates. By Confederate soldiers, they could have been killed as deserters or Union spies. And of course, non-military marauders who discovered the sour mash would simply steal it. When the boys reached their destination, things got even rougher. They had been forbidden by the sheriff to sell in the city, so they would sneak in after midnight and secretly peddle their whiskey to grocers, saloon keepers, and restaurateurs. That's how Johnny did business, smuggling and sneaking throughout the war between the states. That same business, which grew up in Lincoln County, Tennessee, has changed considerably over the past century. However, some of the folks who partake in Johnny's recipes swear they taste just a touch of the hay from the back of that 2-mule wagon. Today, Johnny